Ready and racing.
Welcome to the Dogcast for Greyhound Racing SA. Visit grsa.com.au.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Dogcast, brought to you by Greyhound Racing SA. I'm your host, Brenton Yates, and joining me is Greyhound Racing SA racing manager Shaun Mathieson. Mate, you're back on deck. What'd you get up to? Had a little weekend away last time we chatted. I think we had Lachlan Stace very ably fill in for you.
Yeah, just absolutely. Lockie did a wonderful job, and he well liked and did a super job. I just had school holiday time Yatesy just with the youngster, just had to look after them. So wasn't that romantic, I got to tell you, chicken nuggets and the like. So, but yeah, no, it was good to have a couple of days away and now back into it, and super excited for what's ahead for us in greyhound racing this week.
Yeah, we've got plenty. Obviously, Thursday night, we've got a couple of semi-finals coming up of the Group 3 Howard Ashton. So looking forward to those. We'll go back and check out what happened in the heats last week. We had 3 of those. Also, we had the finals of the Anniversary Cup and the SA Distance Championship last month. So we might check back on those, a bit of a review. So we've got plenty coming up in today's Dogcast.
The Week in Review.
Time for our Week in Review, brought to you by the Fresh Pet Food Co., proud suppliers of fresh pet food for our GAP SA greyhounds in the GAP prison programs, and they are based right here at SA, so you can visit their website, freshpetfoodco.com.au for more information. Rightio, Matho, time to look back. Thursday night, now we had 3 heats gathered together for the Group 3 Howard Ashton, and we also got to see the return of Victor Damien to South Australia. He was in heat number 2. But as an overall arching thoughts on the series leading in with the 3 heats, what did you think of the nominations?
We only had 19 nominations, and there's a lot of dogs nominated for this series. So probably slightly down on what I possibly thought, and that could be for varying reasons. Dogs are progressing from shorter course to 500 metres, just not ready yet. But yeah, ultimately, the 3 heats set up wonderfully well, and we had 3 wonderful heats, but probably the numbers were slightly down. Now, you could say the Victor Damien factor could have had a little bit to do with it.
Yep.
But ultimately, they all get their chance. They progress from heats to semis to finals. And in greyhound racing, Yatesy, we all know, we've spoken about this on the show before, there's no guarantees about anything, so you've got to be in it to win it. We were rapt to have the 3 heats and the quality that we had last week, and they were really wonderful races.
And what's your thoughts on the 3 heats leading into 2 semis, like being a 3-week series as opposed to a 2-week series, perhaps on the back of that? I mean, is it written in stone that that's how it needs to be over the 3-week period? Or?
Well, historically, the Howard Ashton and Brian Johnson, which are SA bred pay-up series, so the participants contribute to these series. They've been 3-week series, very much like the Gawler Produce as well.
Yeah.
Very much local races. On a national level, at group level, pretty much everything's heat to final because the dogs, it's really hard to tie them up for more than a week, really, heat to final, and then they move to the next big race. But they're local dogs, SA bred, and with the 3-week series, it gives the opportunity for participants to earn a bit more money. You know, 3 heats to 2 semis to a big final, they get their opportunity. So it's a bit more historical, but it really only affects our local participants, and they do seem to like that they get the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think, look, that makes sense. And I was asking because we used to have a 3-week Adelaide Cup series, for example, where, and I hear you with the disadvantage of, you can't hold the interstaters for a few weeks because they've got to travel back and forward.
Yeah.
But being local, it makes sense. So, all right, let's jump into it. So, Heat 1, look, well back for Tim Richards, the red runner, Coorong Cam, and actually was able to defeat the Anniversary Cup winner, Victor Albie.
Yeah, look, very impressive, Coorong Cam. About a month ago, I think had a 500-metre run because it's a very quick, short course dog, and it was sort of its first run over 500 and got sort of run down, went to Gawler, thought, well, could it sustain the 500-metre performances, but really good last Thursday night. Was able to lead 30-50. I actually thought Victor Albie had every chance to run Coorong Cam down.
Still a solid run. He was not out as quick as Kuron Cam, who just wanted to shift up a little bit. He was that length and a half away through the pen. I thought he chased home well, not to be beaten far. Was it a quarter of a length, a neck, or whatever it is in the end? But I thought his run was solid. Look, comparative to what we'd seen in the previous 5 or 6 runs, not quite up to that, but it's not to say he can't bounce back and produce something like that this week.
Well, as we just touched on, it's a 3-week series. So he just got job done first. He qualified Victor Albee. He's into a semi-final. Both Tim Richards and the Rasmussen team are going to effectively dominate this series with their litters, it would seem. And full credit to Tim. His team is flying. Again, we've touched on this before in the show. Anything that Tim puts a collar around is really going well, and full credit to Kuron Cam.
We got to see Victor Damien, who had actually trialled the previous week and gone quicker than the track record, but that's just by himself and no sort of interference or outside noise. It was going to be interesting to see how it all played out, and we got to Heat 2. What did you make of it?
Well, first of all, we were rapt to have him go around in the series, just from a promotional point of view. One of the best dogs in Australia. He was going to go to Perth. He was going to go to Victoria, and then he's decided to stay here, and excellent for the local fans. And there was plenty of people came out onto the grass area just to see him go around. Drew box 7. The hype around his trial, 29.84 in the trial. As you said, going around by himself, but could he actually produce that in a heat? And of course he did. I suppose the interesting thing about this heat was that with Victor Tara in the race, it was always going to be a greyhound for him to chase. But he got to Victor Tara really quick into the back straight. And then it was just a matter of the power came in, and it was really a matter of how far he was going to win by. And what time he ran, went 29.86, equaled Wowshi's fast track record. He did it in a race, so I'm sure those people around who knock track records in match racing don't like the idea of that. So he did it in a 5-dog race instead of a 2-dog match race. So well done to them. Equaled the track record. I think there's still a little bit left in him as well. In the trial, he came home in 12.20. He came home in 12.30. And in the call, Yates, he had touched on him. He had to just work a little bit early just to get that position. What did you make of his run?
Yeah, look, he wasn't that well away. In fact, he was clear last, 20, 30 metres after box rise, and then he got going. But he had to get around, I think it was Livet, who was just under him, and he had to accelerate, and there was just a little bit of a half bump, and then he got around. But once he was into the clear, heading to the back, chasing away the tearaway leader, that was it. It was over and out, and he just put a big space on them. I was having a chat to Tony probably a few weeks prior to this series and asking, where you're going to go, and he said, we're going to stay here for the Howard Ashton, and I found that interesting. And then he sort of detailed a bit why. He's talking about, the travel cost to get to Perth, and then the time associated with that, and then, Melbourne, the same sort of deal. And he said, and we get to race locally for good money, and they get to see him here. So, look, he's got improvement. I think you're right. And that record is in danger. There's no doubt about it. What we saw him do there's some more to come.
Well, I mean, he can clearly run the time, and he's got the ability. He just now needs to win the big races, really. Not that he's nowhere near the category of Brett Lee, but Brett Lee did the same thing before the Adelaide Cup, Yates. He broke the track record in a trial in 2001. Most people thought we clocked the law instead of him because he went so fast.
Yeah, I remember.
And then he came out in the heat. This was the 3-week series, the Adelaide Cup, as you touched on. And he went 29.04, and you go, okay, well that's reasonable. Then he went 29.4 in the semi, and you go, okay, maybe not so much. Then he broke the track record in the final. So it's rare that dogs. Sorry, I'm sure dogs run a lot of fast times in trials, but you've still got to produce it on the track. And so Victor Damien's done that. He's an equal track record holder. We think there's improvement in him. He's only 2 years and 3 months. I mean, there's so much ahead of him. I encourage anyone to get out on Thursday night, and then hopefully the following Thursday in the final, so long as he progresses, because you might not see him back here for a couple of months. Hopefully he'll come back for the Nationals, I would say. But who knows where he goes. The sky's the limit with this dog, and it's wonderful to have him here racing.
What about the third heat? Once again, Tony Rasmussen dominating here. He actually trifected the third heat. Victor Marley, Victor Speed, Victor Tony in that order. Take us through the race.
No, well, Victor Marley, we know she's got such wonderful speed. She was able to jump to the front and lead. 30.45, Yatesy running those sorts of times in front. They're generally not getting run down.
Yep.
Victor Speed, He'll keep coming, this dog. I think he's a very strong type at the end, so he was a good run to come from midfield to grab second. And Victor Tony, again, a solid run in the top three. Sort of dominated that heat. But Victor Marley put herself in a winning position up the front. Everyone had their chance to run her down, and she got the job done.
Victor Speed's run was solid, as you say, and particularly when he got back to the rail. So drew 6, found the fence sort of heading past the 700 boxes, and then was sort of a bit better form from that actual stage of the race, I thought.
I definitely think there's better drawn. So when we touch on the semi-finals, he's a dog that likes the rails, and he probably will get that run in the semi-final. So I think he can be a bit closer to Victor Marley.
What about a couple of our feature races last month, Matho? We had the final of the Anniversary Cup and also the SA Distance Championship.
Yeah, well, I suppose talk about the Distance Championship first with Zipping Patch. And
what a great thrill for Ashley Griffiths, eh?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have loved her to say a few more words on the dice. I know Ashley's a bit shy in that regard.
She handballed the interview, didn't she?
She did to Cameron Forshaw.
Yeah.
But I know they were wrapped with the performance of Zipping Patch and obviously Zipping Senorita, which was also in the final. But Zipping Patch did a great job. Again, came off midfield. Has shown plenty of talent in a lead up to the final, but was able to charge through. I did think when Springvale Rex ran to the front, I thought, well, maybe he might get it for Gavin Harris, but Zipping Patch ran home really powerfully, got the job done. Bedrock Will led him up and ended up running third and subsequently won, so plenty of improvement with that dog. And a real thrill for a young couple who are doing a good job with their dogs. I see Zipping Patch, Yatesy, they've sent the dog to Kayla Coleman, I think, for the Sandown Cup. Kayla Cottrell, for the Sandown Cup. It's in on Thursday night in a heat of the Sandown Cup, so hopefully it does well for them. But really good performance, 10,000 of the winner and a great race. The distance race are always great.
Yeah, terrific. And coming to the turn, it was always going to be intriguing because you're right, Rex was in front, but Zipping Patch, you could just see getting that fence run, and with the power that we'd seen it in the lead up, it was always going to be pretty hard to hold out. So, well done to Ashley Griffiths and the team, a terrific result. And what about the Anniversary Cup going to, once again, Tony Rasmussen with Victor Albie?
Well, he drew well, didn't he, Victor Albie? He drew 2.
He didn't begin well.
He didn't.
He wasn't. Look, I thought he got a bit more squeeze than maybe he did looking at the replay, but he was able to. He didn't show great box speed, but then he was able to sort of get moving and push through going to the first turn.
Yeah, and I think that determination to push through. Again, in tight situations, some dogs they can find the pressure too much. But Victor Albie, full credit to him, he pushed through on the first turn, and once he found the lead and was able to sort of pinch a little bit of a break, he was going to be hard to run down. 30-23, Yatesy out in front. Like really, it's only his kennel mate that's going to run past him, Victor Damien, to be honest. But Victor Damien wasn't in the race. Full credit to Albie, got the Anniversary Cup win. Victor Marley ran second, so the team got the Cornella. And Louise, I know you're very keen about this dog for Tim Richards, and a really good performance. Yeah,
it was. Ran third at nice odds, stayed up, and then was nice and powerful late. I reckon we just missed the first 4. The pink ran fourth, didn't it? In the
Basil Brush Rose, just ahead of Springvale Maddie.
So I had Maddie in as the next one, so we just missed the first 4 there. Terrific. That's a big review, Matho, and keen to see what you think come Thursday night. We'll be back with our preview of the semis of the Howard Ashton, and also grab you some best bets.
The Preview.
The Preview is brought to you by SA Greyhound Tips Twitter feed. Free tips for SA Metro Greyhound meetings. Search @TheDogsSA and get on board, Matho. As always, mate, gamble responsibly.
Most definitely.
Now, a couple of semi-finals. They come up on Thursday night. Take us through. So I think they're early, aren't they? Races 3 and 4, is it?
Races 4 and 5.
4 and 5.
Yatesy.
Okay. What have we got in the first of them? Race 4.
Well, the first of them, we see the star step out, Victor Damien. He's drawn box 7. So he's going to dominate the market, but he comes up against Victor Albie, which probably prior to the series starting was the clear second favourite to Victor Damien on his Anniversary Cup performance. They've both drawn the same semi-final based on their placings and times. And it's going to be really interesting. Victor Albie's drawn 5. Victor Damien's drawn 7. A lot of the speed in this race, a lot of the speed in the series is probably in the other semi-final.
Yeah, you're right.
To be honest,
there's not much early speed here.
There's not a lot.
It looks like Victor Albie leads and Victor Damien lobs second.
I think the race pattern's going to pan out where the two big guns are going to match it down the back straight, probably. I mean, maybe a Victor Tony from box 3, but I don't know.
Possible, yeah.
Could push up,
yeah.
But I do think just there's not a clear standout leader, which means the early muster of Victor Albie and Victor Damien should put them in a good position. I mean, Victor Damien drawn 7. Livet has drawn 8. We know Livet likes to stay wide, so shouldn't really have any bearing on his run to the first turn. He's got faster than slow on his inside, who's not a quick beginner. So I think the race pattern for this race sees the two big guns out in the lead, and then it's just a matter of, I suppose, if Victor Albie can pinch a break on Victor Damien, he'll get clear running. And one would suspect that Victor Damien should put Victor Albie away off the back straight, probably. But I think it'll be a good battle, and we'll just see what sort of times they run, or, barring any unforeseen interference or anything like that. The pattern just sets up well for them. I think the likes of a Victor Tony and time after time drawn 2, for Tim Richards
can show speed, can't she? Can. But she's not going to be with them through the pen. They'll be going 3 or 4 lengths quicker at least to the 700 boxes maybe.
Is that the way you saw it?
Look, I don't see it a battle at all. No, I see it a track record to Victor Damien,
Okay.
I mean, because it just sets up beautifully. He's got no speed underneath, like with the 6. He's got no speed outside with the 8. It likes to stay up anyway. Victor Albie's going to move up and sort of across. So he's just going to have a saloon passage, drive a truck through it, go as hard as you want, and then put the foot to the floor and then burn. So to me, it's better than last week. And it's a track record, and it's a big win.
Well, that's going to be...
Victor Albie runs second.
Victor Albie is second. I mean, they should clear out, shouldn't they?
They should,
well, that's definitely a race not to be missed, really. I mean, I'd encourage anyone to get there Thursday night. It's race 4. We're going to see one of the big guns in Australian racing. As you said, the race opens up for him. The top 4 go through to the final. So, as mentioned, maybe a Victor Tony time after time, maybe to fill the minors. What did you think that might fill the minors?
Victor Tony, and I threw in the pink Livet because it ran second behind Victor Damien. I know it was an 11-length margin, but look, wasn't super away, had that little bit of traffic on the first bend as well. But it's really making up the numbers stuff. I mean, it's not something I'm going to lose sleep over as to who's going to finish back there. But I do think the record is either here or it's not. So what I mean by that is it either happens Thursday night. I don't think it happens the following week. And now the reason I say that is because I find it hard to believe he's going to get a clearer shot at it than he's going to get Thursday night, the way the box draw's fallen. And that's without knowing who's in the final or what the box draw is going to be. The setup Thursday night, to me, is as good as he's going to get through this series. And that's where I think he can run the time.
I think you're right. I mean, I think history of group finals, when you get to the group final, they tend not to be fast. It's an extreme case that track records are broken in a group final because the dogs are all at reasonable level. They're all very similar. They've all got early speed. They're all strong, that sort of stuff. So he got his chance in the heat. He equaled the track record. He gets his chance Thursday night. So let's hope the power comes in and we see a track record. That would be wonderful.
Yeah. I don't think we need to hope, Matho. I think it's already
very
happened.
Confident.
We just haven't seen it.
I wonder if the Tab are going to put a market out. If he breaks the track record, maybe that is one they should put out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jason Lincoln prior to the race, I was listening to him before he threw across, and he said, look, the only thing we need to worry about here is whether the track record will be broken and whether the 10-length margin will be broken. And he was pretty much spot on with both of them because equaling track record, and I think it was 11 lengths, I think it was in the end, somewhere there. Look, there'll be a lot of interest in that actual perspective on Thursday night.
Now, Yatesy just quickly in the heat, and again, Jason, I did hear him prior. He said about the $1.15. He's not one to tip into short price favourites, and he said the $1.15 was just amazing odds.
Well, it was, and look, you can all say that post race, but he said it pre-race, and the thing that blew me away was it opened $1.04.
Yeah.
So how has it got out to $1.15? So it's totally gone the other way. And you sit back and you look and you analyse the field prior to the race and you think, okay, how does he get beaten here? It was hard to find how because he had 8 to 10 lengths on them time-wise.
Yeah.
So bad luck, okay, yep, but you look through and you go, well, where's the bad luck going to come? I can't really see him being cluttered or being knocked or whatever, just the way the box draw had sort of panned out. So, look, not often you say that. $1.15, big value, but it certainly was.
The market's not out yet. What odds are you thinking he'll start
in that race?
In the semi-final?
Oh, mate, he's got to be that $1.03 scenario to me. Look, Victor Albi's going to pull some percentage out of the market because he's the Anniversary Cup winner and is quality dog. But to me, Damien's in another stratosphere. And we're going to see that Thursday night, I think. And you can say as much as you want about there's going to be competition and Victor Albi's going to be booting up and Victor Damien's going to have to chase him down. No, I don't think that's what's going to happen. Okay. I just think he's so superior. I haven't seen a win like that, the way that he pushed on and put 10 lengths on them and ran record time after looking ordinary early. That's what he looked to me. He looked a bit ordinary early to me. And then to go and do what he did in the second portion of the race, I haven't seen that for a very long time, if at all, here at Angle Park. Now, obviously, Brett Lee was a bit different because, and I'm not saying he's a Brett Lee, but look, he's on his way to being something really special.
Yeah, of course.
And Brett Lee had the early pace, but he's got this amazing surge after he gets himself together that he just can put anyone away. I mean, we've seen it interstate and the way he picks them up and puts them away. So I would be shocked if that's what didn't happen Thursday night. Okay. And I'm not generally a favourite sort of outspoken type. I like the roughies, I like the odds, but when I see a really good one, I just know that, hang on, okay, this is something a bit different. You've got to jump on the bandwagon here. Right, now we move along.
The second semi-final?
Yeah, second semi-final. Now, this is really intriguing to me. Wondering how you see this playing out.
So it's race 5 on the card. So as we mentioned, this is all the speed seems to be drawn into this race, or the high speed early. So you got Victor Tara out of the 1, and she's electric early. She can light it up. Victor Speed we spoke on from the 2. He should get a nice run here. Victor Marley out of the 3. She's brilliant early. Victor Curl 4. We got the Interstater Rocky Roll for Dan Gibbons. His team goes exceptionally well, but it was a solid performance in the heat. A bit of improvement in him. Coron Cam out of the 6. He led his heat and won. And then Bays Jinx and Thanks Jones. So I think the absolute early burn comes from Victor Tara, Victor Marley, and Coron Cam, all to the first turn. I can't necessarily identify who is actually going to lead here because I think Victor Tara is going to push up. They're all going to be hard to the turn. I see Victor Speed getting a nice run in behind here, Yates, and he's the stronger dog on the way home. If one of those 3 got clear running and was able to break away, then they'd be hard to catch. But I actually think Victor Speed's going to get the right run. Tara probably pushes up and leads. Victor Marley, we know she sits wide, so I always think the run's going to be there for Victor Speed. And Coron Cam, I think he'd need to clear them because I don't think he can necessarily come from behind them, even though he was a really good run in the heat, running time. So that's the way I sort of saw it. I think they're the 4 main chances. I think they'll probably clear out from the rest of the field. But I think Victor Speed might get the run. He might be able to blow them out over the concluding stages. What did you think?
Yeah, look, I can see that style of race unfolding. I liked Victor Marley because I thought she would get over. She'd certainly be out in front of Victor Speed. Now, Victor Tara, look, hasn't she made a jump too? Just her 6th race start. Yeah. I mean, this litter has been extraordinary. You know, Fernando Bale, Victor Polly litter, it's quite amazing. The Victor Damien, all these Victor Greyhounds that are in it pretty much, with the exception, obviously, of Curl, but they're from that litter, you know, and it's been quite an extraordinary litter and quite a talent that what we've seen. But I thought she would boot through and get the speed, be the lead, if not head off Victor Tara, certainly be right there. And I thought she'd be a bit stronger home, Victor Marley. Yep. So I've got her on top. Coron Cam I put in. I probably prefer him drawn closer to the rail, to be honest, but I could see him being up there and not being far away. Victor Speed's going to have the lovely run, gets back to the inside, which is a big key. And I thought Rocky Roll could be the improver, perhaps. Overlook its first look at Angle Park was slow out. Some of them can be that at their first look here. And I think there could be some improvement there. So I've gone Victor Marley on top there.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Victor Marley will cross over Victor Tara, and that possibly put someone like Victor Speed a further dog back to be closer, or do you think Marley will definitely cross Victor Tara?
No, I don't think she'll definitely cross.
Yeah.
Look, Victor Tara, from what we've seen, has been a reasonably faultless beginner. Speed has been good. I see Victor Marley being within a length or so of Victor Tara going to that first bend. So I certainly see Victor Speed 3 back. Yeah. I don't see it driving up on the hard back of Victor Tara in the early part.
Yep.
Now, whether Victor Marley wants to drop to the fence or not, and then that puts Victor Speed that further one back, I'm not sure. But I think Marley will be sort of within that length 3/4 going to the first bend, and then just be a bit too good heading into the back. That's the 2 semi-finals of the Group 3 Howard Ashton final to be run next week. Box draw will be done Thursday night.
Box draw done Thursday night. Top 4 from each semi-final progress through. So the semi-finals race 5. So it'll be done after race 6 on course. We'll put that out on all socials, and it'll be. I'm sure a lot of people will be interested to know where hopefully Damien draws, but where everyone else draws, because as you mentioned, it's going to be a little bit tougher in the final, but definitely a race not to be missed, I'm sure.
All right, what about the best bets for Thursday night? Now, I walked in here to get this podcast done today, Matho, and you start crowing about some big winner that you tipped last week that no one heard about. I mean, where are you tipping these things?
I occasionally, I sort of support the Western Australian podcast done by Rawa and David Short over there. So I threw out Montana Lace a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And paid like $31. I was very excited by that.
So the Perth punter's got the money.
Well, it goes national.
Okay.
It's a national podcast. So, I mean, a lot of the big names are on there. I'm surprised you're not on there.
But
obviously
Matho, hey?
I'm on there. Just supporting SA Racing. It's a great opportunity that we get for 5 minutes to support our local product. So Shorty does a wonderful job, and it's a national podcast. So I'm sure anyone can find that at any time. But unfortunately, last week it was 0-3. So anyway, we won't discuss that. But this week, Yatesy, I've got one for us.
Okay.
So it's going to be in race 11 on Thursday night. Rickalina Babe.
Another late one, hey?
Yeah, I like to go late. To keep everyone interested in my selection. So race 11, number 4, Rickalina Babe for Darren Camporelli. This is a final. Heats were run on Saturday morning. Rickalina Babe ran second in her heat. She's a dog that gets back. She needs luck. She didn't have I didn't think she had a bit of a checkered passage in the heat.
She was well backed.
Yeah, I mean,
strong money.
There's the heat. There probably wasn't a lot of depth in the heat on the Saturday that she was in, but she is a dog that needs luck. The final's going to be a bit harder. I think she'll be able to get a nice run along the rails. I'm thinking Sophia Palms out of the 2 and Zeal Express from the 3 will show enough speed, and both of them like to stay up the track. So I'm just banking on her having a bit better start than last Saturday, finding the rails, and I think the run will be there. And she's powerful in the last section. So I like her as my sole best bet for the night. Hopefully we get a $3, $3.50, not like $31. But anyway, we'll just go to $3.50 for now, hopefully.
Yeah.
What about your best bet? Now have you got a few best bets?
I got 2.
You love the multis.
I got 2,
them up.
and I've also got one that I want to keep an eye on a bit later on. I'm not going to label it, but it's got some really nice talent coming through, and I'm intrigued to get your thoughts on it as well. Good. So, look, race 7, number 4, my favourite, Springvale Maddie. I'm back on the Maddie bandwagon. Look, solid enough the other night. I just thought in this race, Basil Brush Rose will walk out. Obviously, fantastic Faith, who's going in really good style itself, actually, at the moment. Yep. It'll come firing out. But I thought that looked Maddie's race to me. Victor Kurt will try and drive through, and you got Hoogley out wide, who's also racing in pretty solid form. But look, I'm going to take Springvale Maddie all up into later on Agent 99. So that is race 8, number 4. She's flying at the moment, looking to make it 3 wins in a row. She's been an odds-on winner her last couple, and look, probably again, but I thought that was worth a look as the all-up best bet of the night. And the Matho, did you see Where's Poppy make her debut?
Oh, yeah, for Kieran Corby. Yeah, very impressive.
Very nice win. Now, look, on debut, ran 30.69, but had some nice early speed. There's a bit of improvement to come here, but wasn't she smashed in the betting? Yeah.
I mean, Kieran Corby, she knows how to find a young one. Obviously, the likes of Seneke and, Tawitchery and Quarencia all came through just of late. Now she's always had a good dog, Lionhearted. Go back 15 years ago. But yeah, Where's Poppy? It was reserved the week before, and I think it was back in markets hoping it would get a run, and it didn't get a run, and then it got a run because it was reserved from the week before, so it was automatically going to go in. But yeah, heavily supported, and first start, demolished them in 30-60, and I mean, it goes to grade 6 company. It's always hard to win your maiden and then win again.
Yeah.
But I think there's plenty of ability there. So
yeah, I'm not saying she'll win, but, box 8, just see how it handles all that. But I think one to keep an eye on sort of going forward. I think there's some improvement to come.
Definitely.
Well, big night coming up Thursday night, Matho. So, look, make sure you can get there. We might see a track record with Victor Damien. So that's our Dogcast. We'll catch you again next week.